Hola a todos, bienvenidos or benvinguda if you speak Catalan. Welcome to another Party Pace live stream. It's a transcontinental live stream because I'm once again joined by my co-host, Nolan from the Bike Sauce. How's it
Hey,
going? ¿Qué tal?
good. Yeah, good. How are you? Happy New Year.
Good. Yeah. So I think in this video, we're going to talk about the notion of bike hacking. We came up with a loose definition like 30 seconds before the stream started. And I propose bike hacking is doing things that probably weren't intended by the said component or bike manufacturer. Are you good going with that?
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. There's a spectrum.
There is.
Starting from by the books all the way to hitting stuff with hammers and cutting your own parts and stuff.
Yeah, definitely a spectrum. Well, let's catch up a little bit. I think the last time we spoke was way back in 2023.
Yeah, way back.
What's been going on with you?
I think the last one was before holidays, certainly, right?
Yeah.
So we've all endured the holiday season, a lot of travel, a lot of illness. I don't know. You were sick for a while, weren't you? You and Laura both.
Yeah. Since we've moved here, we've been here for almost 3 months, and I've been sick 3 times in the past two months and some change. Compared to the last like 6 years, I was sick 0 times.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but
there's just a lot of people and different germs, I guess. But yeah.
Spanish viruses, huh?
Yeah, I know. It's just dense. I mean, we lived on like the edge of town in Missoula, and we probably only saw like a dozen people,
right?
And we were all like good friends. And here it's it's hard to avoid the throng.
Yeah, it's like a punch to your immune system's face.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like you're better now, which is good. Coincidentally, I was sick the whole break too.
Oh, were you?
That's just because we have little kids and saw a lot of family and stuff. So
yeah,
back into the swing of things now. Yeah, so first live stream of the year. Doing pretty well, I would say.
Cool. Yeah. We got some news today, which will dovetail nicely into the article that I think we're going to dive into before talking about the bike hacks. We finally got our visas.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
It was really stressful because if we didn't get them, we would have had to fly out, first week of February. And, we just leave the country. Okay. And we just signed a lease on an apartment.
Oh, right.
Which was a little bit of, jumping before everything's settled. And but.
Nice. So you'll move in what, the next month or so?
Yeah, we have to be out of this place at end of the month. So we're gonna be walking stuff over. It's about like half a mile, 3/4 of a mile from where we are. So we're gonna do a walk move.
Oh, nice.
Until I'm actually gonna get a hold of an Omnium cargo bike to review, cool. And then I'll start tossing stuff and moving stuff by bike.
Cool, cool. Yes, this sounds pretty close. Is it like that? The distance isn't the problem, but you probably have a lot of vertical to deal with.
It's a stuff. Yeah, I mean, we've got 3 bike cases, big luggage. We've picked up some appliances like a tea kettle and soda stream and just like odd bulky stuff.
I thought you meant like a washer dryer.
Oh, no. Yeah, the apartment came with a washer, thankfully. Okay. But like my plan is to use my big luggage suitcase as like the cargo shell and just do trips like shoving stuff in there and then pedaling it over.
Should see if you can fit a washer on the back of the cargo bike.
It's interesting. It's gonna be the Omnium. It's not the full on cargo one, and it's not the mini one. It's the one in the middle.
Okay,
but
like a long tail one, or like the long front one.
It's a front loading cargo bike. So it's similar to my Blinky, but shorter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll fit in the Euro style elevator that we have in the building. Otherwise, I'm going to be schlepping it up like 5 stories worth of steps.
It's got to weigh what, 50, 60 pounds?
I think naked it's in the 40s, so not too bad.
Oh, not too bad.
It's not. It could be heavier. Yeah, the shocking thing, or I don't want to say shocking, but the surprising thing about Girona is, as well as it's known for being a good place for biking, it's kind of not that great for bike commuting. There's very few like bike staples in town. And like the buildings, like there's a garage, like underground garage. I was like, surely there's got to be a post or hopefully a bike rack. I can just use a motor style lock it and lock a bike to it, but there's like nothing.
Because everyone's got like fancy road bikes. They just bring it straight to their apartment or something.
Right. They can just like carry with like 2 fingers.
Yeah, 15 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the cycling is that kind of touristic, roady cycling.
Right.
Yeah. So
interesting. Okay, well, good luck with that. I think it sounds like it should be manageable unless you're on some tight timeline, which doesn't sound like you are.
No, just the end of the month. I'm hoping the cargo bike gets built up soon enough. Like Omnium's sending it to a bike shop in Barcelona. They should get it maybe Monday, Tuesday, and then take a couple days to build it up. Then we have to take the train over there, and hopefully it'll fit on the train. And then
otherwise, you can test the range on it.
Yeah,
write it back.
It's in the Matthias over at Omnium was like, well, you could ride it back from like Barcelona to Girona, and it's like, could.
Well, how far is that?
I think by car it's like 45, maybe 50 miles, but that's as the crow flies via the highway.
Right.
I've been sent some routes that they're more gravel and surface streets, and that pushes it to maybe 50, 60 miles. So kind of longer days for me at the moment, and it's cold and it gets dark early, and I don't know that I want my first ride to be a 60-mile ride with a cargo bike.
Right. No, that's fair.
Have you ridden a cargo bike?
Yeah, this Velo trick that they sent over, I didn't think, I thought, all right, I'll just check it out, see what it's about, do a video on it. But this has probably gotten the most use of all the bikes that have been sent over because the kids like it, because I take them to school on it every day. It's like this super long tail one. So there's 2 seats on the back and like this cage, basically, so the kids can get in and just ride it. So, we ride it all over the neighborhood, take them to school.
It's an e-bike, I assume?
Yeah, it's e-bike. Yep.
Is it mid-drive motor or what's the...
Yeah, mid-drive. Yeah, mid-drive, long tail, 20-inch rear wheel, 26-inch front.
Oh, how's that handle?
It's crazy. There's a crazy amount of shimmy. I don't know if you've ever experienced shimmy, but there's a suspension fork, right? So when you're riding on it, it kind of compresses, so it makes the head too real steep. Sometimes without the kids on the back, sometimes I'll be riding and I'll just take my hands off to see what it's like to handle, and the bars just like start jittering like crazy. So,
do you think that's from the suspension or like the different wheel size?
Oh, it's tough to say. I don't know. It's just the geometry. Like there's no top tube. It's only a down tube. Right?
Okay,
so
there's
a ton of flex in the frame from front to rear.
That'll do it.
And I have a feeling that has something to do with it. So
yeah, it's just not triangulated enough. So whatever, and if it's long, it's got to be wagging a bit. So that just gets sent up the front, probably.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what the physics are there, but it's very unnerving.
Yeah.
Like I'll be going. The thing goes 25 miles an hour, so I'll be, going down and see a neighbor. I'll wave, just take one hand off, and it starts getting a little squirrely. So
yeah.
But
anyway. This is kind of an interesting, because I've seen lots of e-cargo bikes with a step-through design, and I've always wondered if that introduces much flex and how that's exacerbated, especially since by nature of a cargo bike you're going to be carrying like heavier loads.
Yeah, like just look. I mean, I'm looking at it now, but it's just the one weld at the bottom holding the whole thing together. um, Even getting on the bike, you can kind of feel it like flex side to side. So um,
It's
I don't know.
laterally supple.
Yeah, laterally compliant.
Laterally compliant. That's the next big trend.
You really get that planing.
Right, the sideways planing.
Right.
Nothing like it.
Um, Honestly, I
That's
don't
it.
think I haven't really pedaled the bike because it's got a throttle. So
Mm.
it's really just a moped with a set of cranks on it.
It's a long illegal motorcycle.
Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, a lot of fun. So hopefully you'll have a similar experience with your cargo bike.
Yeah, I think the Omnium that they're sending is analog. Although there's
Okay.
another Swedish company that might review one of their bikes. It's called the company's Monopole, and it's like a stubby front-loading cargo bike that has like a hidden motor.
Oh,
That's kind of interesting. Yeah, I think I might lean into the weird cargo bike stuff here now that we're in Europe, just because they've got some really cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, and it's like it's your only way, right? You don't have a car, so you kind of
Right.
have to.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping to find one that can pimp out into like the perfect like painting rig. Just carry all the art supplies and take it out country.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Nice.
Cool. Well, let's hop into our first topic, and then we'll talk bike hacks. Let me pop it up here on the screen. No, it's not a slide. Share screen. Da-da. Where is it? Oh, so the first thing we thought we'd talk about is this article that was on the Radavist. I think it was posted yesterday or today, but it's one that a lot of people have been sending me, and I swear I know how to share a screen here. Messages system. Okay, it's not letting me share a screen. But anyways, there's this really cool article on the Radavist that was posted today or yesterday, and it was dispatches from Girona 2023, and it's about this person that came over to Girona, rode the Girona second time, and a much different experience from the first time. So, what do you think of the article?
Well, so yeah. The way I read the article is that one of their correspondents from the Radavist, I guess he's been there for a while, right? A couple of years or something like that. And so he rode this. I didn't even know what the Girodio was, but it sounds like this kind of big event held by the service course. And then I had to look up the service course because this is one of those terms that I always hear.
Right.
But I didn't quite know what it was. So it turns out service course is like it's like the area, it's like the staging area for all like the pro equipment and trucks and mechanics and stuff on, like the pro tour and stuff, as far as I understand it. But it's also a bike shop in Girona, right?
Yeah.
So the service course is like a super fancy bike shop. And I guess they hold this event.
Very fancy.
Very fancy. Have you been?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you do a video?
We're gonna, but then it fell through and haven't rescheduled. But yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, yeah. So they hold this event, and well, the article is really interesting because it paints a picture of how this event went. But then there's also this like subtext about how Girona as a city has kind of changed very quickly, very recently. So, and Russ, you're kind of like right in there. So, like, you probably have a very, well, actually, you're almost because you're considered an expat, right?
So, that's a dirty word. You can't say that. Otherwise, people on the internet like. I use the term expat on like a previous video, and holy Jesus, the comments.
Really? Well, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
you're not that's so like Anglo-centric. You're a foreigner, just like everybody else.
Well, then there's a word for it too, right? In Girona. I don't know how to pronounce it, right? But
I think it's what do you say? It's Girus?
Gidi or something?
Yeah. Yeah, giri. Yeah,
Guiri.
yeah, giri.
I thought that was the dirty word. I thought that was the offensive one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so people come in to Girona to, you know, on a work visa or something like that. It sounds like the article is kind of pointing at the fact that a lot of these folks are coming in and taking advantage of the cycling culture and not necessarily paying it enough respect is how I read it.
Right. Yeah. I thought it was interesting because what's funny is we were here the same time. We were here during the Girodio that that you read about the first time last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to make a video because I knew it was going on and they wouldn't let me do it.
Oh.
I was like, can we make a video? It's like, no. I was like,
Oh,
okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you were the 50th person who had asked that
I
day.
don't know. Like, I didn't want to be like, well, I've got like a moderately successful YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to do that, but they were just, it was very, no, you can't do it. Like, you know, yeah, it's only for whatever. So, but you know, clearly he was able to, and we just missed it this year. Like we flew in like right after it had happened. Mm-hmm. And there have been changes. It's funny. We were here in town last year for like a month, and around this, actually here the same exact time. And some businesses have closed. Some ownership has swapped around. So even from our very like limited experience, we've seen it change. I did find it interesting him talking about you know, the notion of the giri and like the anti cyclist backlash.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's hilarious. Like cyclists never get a break, right? They're always like the symbol of like gentrification. Wherever you go, like your neighborhood or an entire country, once the cyclists come, it's over. Because then the coffee shops, and then yeah.
Well, but it's this weird concept that Girona is like a cycling mecca, right? But who's they? I don't know. But they want to keep it sort of pure to some, you know, to some degree or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like the article was mostly good. It was problematic for me in some ways. You know, like in the first kind of paragraph, you know, he was over at the coffee shop Oneria, which, you know, we go to as well, and you know, he makes I wouldn't say like a big to do, but like this older woman was trying to cross a sidewalk, and you know, he, or like the German cyclist he was with, took it as like a sign that's like they hate all cyclists,
right?
And you know, I've been there. The sidewalk's tiny, and like if there's an old person, you move. So what were, you know, it wasn't maybe necessarily a sign of, you know, being anti-cyclist, but like the old people here get like a ton of respect from the young people, and you just move the hell out. So that was the first one. Like I feel like he was kind of reading into that one a little much. And in the article, he also talks with Peter, who's a guide for the service course, who's super cool guy. We've had coffee with him a couple times, and we're actually going to do a video with him because he's got this super fascinating way he packs a bike using saran wrap to get on trains.
Okay.
But he's like traveled all over Catalonia and other parts of Spain, and I think like has done some trips through France. So he's an awesome resource and a pretty cool guy if you get him as a guide. And Peter talks about that too. Like things are changing. There's kind of like a slight resentment towards cyclists. There's a ping pong table that we play at, and when we first got in town, there was like a sticker that said no cyclotourism. So it's definitely a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But is it like? But that's where I have trouble with. Like I don't understand the nuances of it, maybe because I thought Girona itself was this like center for cycling.
It is, but I feel like at least the story from how I've been told it by people that have lived here a long time is that, you know, it's because of the pros that had come here. So it's always kind of like an outside influence.
Okay.
That started, you know, the bike culture or blew it up. And not necessarily from like, you know, Catalan people here themselves. You know, it's kind of like Lance came and this other guy came and this came and they opened up a coffee shop and all of a sudden it became a hub.
I see.
So to some extent, I feel like it's always, at least again, as how I've been told it, started by foreigners.
I see.
And it's a slippery slope because it brings some benefits. They come, we come, spend money, invest in the community. But there's also like a tipping point, and that's a part where there's this notion of over tourism, right. Where too much of good thing, too many Airbnbs, and all of a sudden, no one actually lives there. It's just vacationers, and it just becomes a shell of a place. And I think that's where the fear is.
Is it heading there?
It's there. Like when we were last year, there were signs some signs in Barrivell that were no apartments turísticos, no more like Airbnb flats. So it's complicated.
The article put out a number, like 15% of all housing in Girona is now vacation rentals, like Airbnbs.
Yeah, I don't know if that's Girona proper or if that's like the Old Town, which is where all the cute stuff is.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Laura found an article from NPR that had talked about Sevilla, and they had a similar experience where there were so many vacation rentals, and there's so many tourists, and in some ways it kind of cleaned up the city a bit and became a little bit nicer place to be. But at the same time, the schools had to shut down because there weren't enough actual residents. Oh, right. It was all just blocks of tourist rentals, and no kids going to school, and it just became a shell of a city.
I see. So. I see. Oh, that's interesting. Do you feel pressure to respect the culture and provide some kind of
value? I do. I think our goal would be to integrate. We're trying to study Spanish and Catalan at the same time, and be respectful neighbors. I went to this group, Urban Sketching's a thing in Spain, and there was this local Girona coffee sketch group. I went, it's all Catalan. It's kind of fun, and I don't know. I feel like I'm meshing more with the non-cycling community than with the cycling community, to be honest.
Well, that doesn't surprise me because as far as I understand, the cycling community there is primarily roadies, high performance roadies, right?
Yeah, it's intense. Yeah. And yeah, it's either pros, ex-pros, or wannabe pros. So the base level of fitness is very high. Some people have something to prove, and it's hard. I've been reached out to by many people saying it's just hard to find a chill ride where that doesn't become into a field sprint at the end of the day, or where people aren't trying to kill each other. So
maybe you think that's your contribution. You'll
there you go.
You'll plant the seed of party pace in Girona.
Right. We'll try. I mean, yeah. Now that we've got the visas and are in it for a longer haul, then hopefully that's the goal. We did run into there was a local bike advocacy group that had that was having a little event in one of the squares, which is kind of cool. So nice to learn about that. Probably my biggest issue with the articles is at the end, because it felt a little just a little bit gatekeepy to me. I'd share it on the screen, but apparently I don't know how to do that.
You put in the description for later.
Yeah, I'll put in this description. And it says the tipping point over the last year has been the seemingly endless supply of tour operators opening up the local routes to ordinary or inexperienced cyclists on mid-range e-gravel or e-mountain bikes, which in itself isn't even problematic. The tourism infrastructure, mid-range hotels, gourmet burger place, doesn't make sense. They erode Girona's identity both in Catalan culture and also as a hotspot for serious cycling in Europe. Beyond that, they trade on Girona's reputation for great cycling to offer good cycling to a crowd that could have a better time doing good cycling at a lot of places in Europe. So to me, this felt like, this place has great cycling and only, super experienced or super fit people should be allowed to enjoy it here. And if you want good cycling, go somewhere else. Or there's like I don't know. I tried to give it a charitable read, but like that, the last 2 paragraphs is where, for me, it's a little bit bothersome. So.
Yeah, kind of. It took a hard right at the very end. I feel like, because the bulk of it was describing this like pretty fascinating cycling event, and then it kind of turned into, well, if you're not like a pro, maybe go somewhere else.
Yeah, if you're not like a super pro, you can't really experience it like you're supposed to. Is the sentiment I got. And for me, it's like, who's to say like who should be allowed to enjoy the great cycling here, even if you're not a serious cyclist or only a good cyclist, Yeah. So, and yeah, Laura and I, we read this the other day and had lots of thoughts. But like at the end of the day, like the cycling's good, but it's one of the less important things that drew us here. It's almost like a bonus that the cycling is good, but there's so many other things that were more of an attractor, like the laid back lifestyle. The people are really nice. No shoveling of snow.
Well, what's weird is what makes cycling good for a pro and what makes cycling good for like, ordinary folks like us is pretty much the same.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same.
So
and honestly, if anything, I can't speak. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I should even say this, but like, but
we have to now.
In terms of the perception of cyclists being gentrifiers, lots of money ruining the rent for everybody. Like, I find it hard that, given, someone that like riding around on like a $15,000 bike and like some German tourists with like a rental e-bike, if someone were to encounter the two, like which one would be the evil cycling gentrifier, right?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Sure. So I don't know. Right now, I'm going to be excommunicado from everybody in Girona. Hopefully, no one's watching it from town. If so, hola, ¿cómo estás? So okay, all right. Let's move away from the spicy topics and go into something safe, like doing inappropriate things to your bike.
Mixing 11 and 12 speed.
Right. Yeah. So talk about your video. That was kind of the impetus for this idea of bike hacking.
Yeah. So somebody reached out to me from a group ride that I had gone from Maverick Cycles, which is a local shop here. He had GRX 1x on his Canyon Grizzle. And it was the 812 mechanical. Yeah, the 812 mechanical rear derailleur, which is 11 speed, maxes out officially at 42 tooth, but you can squeeze 46 tooth in my experience. Some people have claimed that they can go up to 51, but I'm not so sure about that. In my experience, I can get up to 46, but he had a 40 stock was like a 40 tooth, front chainring. So he wanted lower gears, right? He didn't want to necessarily go with the brand new GRX 12 speed. And he read something on Reddit, which I put that link to that article in the video. So it's pretty interesting. Apparently, because the pull ratios are the same between 11 and 12 speed GRX, you ought to just be able to put the GRX rear derailleur mechanical one on the 11 speed GRX and just like, max out one of the limit screws so that it basically becomes this wide range rear derailleur. And so we tried it and it totally worked.
Huh.
So let me backtrack. What it is full 11 speed GRX 1x, with the exception that we put a 12 speed GRX 822 SGS, which is the long cage rear derailleur on the back. And without any other modifications, no tan pans, no goat links, no Garberuk mods or anything like that. It works. So it's an all Shimano solution to the one by limitations that we've generally been faced with if you go like GRX one by.
Right. Nice. And so
yeah.
So how do you make? So all you have to do is like block out the high limit screw so it wouldn't go over, or
yeah. So the high limit screw is the one that you want to max out because that's the smallest ring, like the smallest cog.
okay. Okay.
You want to the whole point of getting that derailleur is so that it has a capacity to go to the big cog. So we maxed out the high limit screw, which to me made sense. Like I didn't foresee any issues, but I was kind of like cautiously optimistic going through the install, and then it just worked.
Yeah.
Some people in the comments have said that a lot of people said they wanted to try it, and so thanks because now they're gonna try it. One person, yeah, some couple of people said they after the video they bought the new derailleur, tried it, and it didn't work.
Oh, interesting.
But
do you have any?
I showed you that it worked. So it definitely works.
Right.
It's a little bit tricky to set up the B limit screw. It's a little bit different. It's more like a mountain bike rear derailleur. There's like a marking on the actual cage of the derailleur. You're supposed to, line that up with the big cog. So we ran the Dior 11 to 51 tooth cassette. So it basically became like a mountain bike as far as the drivetrain.
Right. Nice. So what you're saying is like the stated specs are very fluid. When Shimano or SRAM put something out there, like they don't say, well, you could actually use this you can use this 12-speed derailleur on the 11-speed with an 11-speed shifter as well.
Like you got to
no one would buy, or no one
would buy the whole thing. I mean, people who want the 12-speed will buy it still. Right. But if you want to upgrade incrementally, this is a nice way to do it. Like if you have 11-speed, you don't have $1,000 to shell out for the entire 12-speed group. You can start with the derailleur, and that would give you the range that you wanted. And then later, if you want to add the extra gear, you buy the rifters. But yeah, it worked. That's one of the things. That's one of the. I immediately thought of Cave of Bad Ideas when he reached out. I was like, I'll try it. No guarantee, but
right.
Yeah.
I find that I'm working on a hack. The parts just came in for it, and it's with Shimano Qs, do a wide range 2x. And Qs is interesting because it's 9, 10, and 11 speed, right? Yeah. But they all use an 11-speed chain, so that kind of shows the fluidity of chain speeds. It's less rigid than one would think. And like your hack, they all have the same cable pull. It's just a matter of like limiting how far the derailleur goes.
Okay. So that's good. I mean, like it's almost like Shimano's listening to feedback and saying, let's make things more compatible instead of more proprietary.
Yeah. It's, the only bummer part is that, it uses more cable pull and therefore it's like this hard stop break from like the older, like 2-to-1 cable pull derailleurs of yore. So you couldn't use like a modern Q's 9-speed rear derailleur with an old 9-speed shifter because it wouldn't pull enough cable.
I see.
So it's good in some ways, but it's bad in that like literally millions of parts from over the last like 2 decades can't be used with the new stuff.
Oh shoot. So it's like whack-a-mole. Like you knock some, you make improvements one place and then messes something up somewhere else.
Yeah. Have you used any or touched and played any of the Shimano Qs stuff?
No, I don't know where to get it. Like the only reason I was able to play around with the microchip sword stuff is because Lewis over at Poseidon had some extra parts.
Yeah.
I don't know. Shimano's too big. I don't know how to talk to big people.
Right. I knew one person that worked there, and they're like, "Yeah, whatever, we'll get you that," and like it never happened. So you just had to buy it. Yeah. Let's see.
The other thing I was going to try, actually, back to the GRX 11 speed stuff. Someone in the comments, like it felt like 5 minutes after I posted the video, someone said, "Oh, there's a better, cheaper way to do this." It's not as like simple. Like, you know, the mod, this hack was just like replacing one derailleur with another. But apparently, if you have GRX 1x11, like the 812 derailleur, and you want like super wide range, you can actually swap the cage from the XT 8000 series mountain bike derailleur, because it's I guess the same. You could put that cage on the GRX derailleur, and then you have native 11 speed, but with a capacity up to 51 or 52 teeth.
Oh, the 812 is that the 2x version
No,
of the
that's the 1x.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's the one. The 810 is the 2x version. 812 is the 1x, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the one that has a range up to 42 tooth stated, which can go up to 46. But yeah, so I kind of immediately ordered that rear cage. So when that comes in, I'll test that out as well.
Yeah.
But that's like next level hack. Like I would say that the rear derailleur swap, that's almost just tinkery. That's not necessarily hacky. Once you start like swapping cages from one derailleur to another, that's
gets a little bit more complicated, you know, because there's like that big spring that you got to fight. Make sure you don't chop off a finger and lose some other pieces.
Yeah.
One of my most popular like hack videos was the Garborough cage on the SRAM Apex rear derailleur.
Yeah.
Again, that was inspired by comments. Like someone had referenced like a post on like bike forums or something. I was like, oh, sounds interesting.
Yeah, those ones are usually interesting because if you can find like a claim that somebody's made but like not video evidence of it, that's like a perfect
right.
That's like, oh, I gotta make that video now.
Right. But there are some stupid ass claims too that I'm like, really? No, I'm not doing that. Like there's this one, I forget for which derailleur setup, but basically their suggestion to make the rear derailleur have more capacity was to take the B screw and thread it in the opposite direction, so it would make it longer and therefore increase the capacity. I was like, that you can do that. You make that video, but that's just dumb.
I mean, it's a solid theory almost.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you want like 1.5 inches of B screw out and you trust that, then yeah, sure, totally.
Right. Yeah.
I do find that most of my hacks are around the topic of getting lower gear range. You know, it's never like, how do I get higher gears? It's always like, how do I get lower gears? So maybe that should be an indication of something.
Yeah. I like the wide ranging 2x. All your hacks on the wide ranging 2x to me make a lot of sense, because what I'd like to see is I've got everyone's got a list of videos they want to make. I wanted to make a video trying to answer the question of, does a non-overlapping 2x drivetrain exist? Like run the numbers to see what you would have to do to have zero overlap, and then see if it's possible to make it happen.
I feel like I've seen some ridiculous like wide range doubles, and I mean, like looking at the chainring combination, it seems like there'd be no overlap. I don't know.
Yeah, so that one might be interesting. I don't know how to title. Like, you got to think about title also.
Yeah, because you can do all the work and no one's gonna watch it, and then you're just like, thanks, internet.
It's got to have that perfect, catchy, descriptive, but like, it's got to inspire some kind of curiosity, right?
Right. I think one of the videos I'm going to work on is kind of like a redemption video for the front derailleur, and it'll be the title or something will be like, cyclists hate this component or some shit like that.
You'll do the front derailleur, but like pixelated, blurred out.
Right. The most hated component by cyclists. Yeah. In terms of when you do hacks, like what are for people that are interested in hacking drivetrains, what are your go-to tools?
Well, fortunately, like I said, hacks is a spectrum. like you can literally hack off like part of your steer tube and
That's
slam
true.
your stem, right? So that's literally hacking with a saw. But then mostly everything is Allen keys, right? So like if you want to swap a derailleur cage from one to another, like technically it's like a pretty complex process, but the tools required are pretty basic.
Yeah.
I might invest in like safety goggles because springs hold a lot of potential energy and things can go flying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if you're gonna get into hacking, maybe safety gear is the number one.
Right.
Get some PPE. If you're gonna be like cutting carbon, get a respirator. Don't bring
Yeah.
that stuff in.
I actually think, for me, Allen keys, yes. A good set of cable cutters that also cut housing, just because, whenever you swap between the derailleurs, sometimes there's a discrepancy in how much, cable housing you need.
Right.
Also, a camera to record you hacking. So if you screw something up or you lose a piece, you can rewind and watch what you did. It's funny. It's like I've saved myself because I was making a hack for a video and I forgot which part went or in what order, and I would rewatch the footage to make sure I assembled it correctly.
Oh, that's smart. That's pure wisdom right there. I thought you were going with get a camera so that whether it works or not, you have proof that you can show people on the internet.
That would be helpful. Post that on bike forums or whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing that bugs me maybe most about forums. Bikes or cars or whatever the forum is, like it's just people's word against the other, and so without like evidence, it's really hard to read those threads.
Yeah.
Yeah, bike hacking is fun.
Have you attempted a hack that just did not work?
Let me think. I'm not as cavalier. Like if I'm gonna hack, like I really do the research, and I have a strong fear of failure. So I'll make sure like it at least makes sense all the way through on paper before I start. I don't know if I've had a hack that's failed.
I've had some dumb ideas that didn't work out as planned.
Yeah, such as
the one that comes to mind is I don't know if you remember when Tubolito came out with the smart inner tubes.
Oh,
they had like a pressure sensor and an app, so you could inflate the tube and then use the some kind of near field communication, and would tell you the pressure inside the tube. Didn't work very well and was super inaccurate. But all of the goods were in the valve core, right? Okay. So my hack was to cut that out and see if I could make it work with tubeless.
Like a TPMS for your car or something.
Yeah. So, because there is one, but it's like, super expensive and it updates in real time. But I was like, well, I wonder if I could just take all like the smart stuff in this tube and set it up tubeless and if it would work. And the answer is no. It was a very messy and not very good hack.
What about it? It just didn't seal?
I'm trying to remember what went wrong. Oh, because it was intended for just air, right? Not sealant. So I needed a way to protect the electronics. And I think I put it all in like a bag or some kind of thing to protect it from the sealant, and it either just screwed up the sensitivity or it interfered with the communications, and it didn't work at all. So
that does remind me of a couple times I could not get a tire to seat, like a tubeless tire to seat. So I would try, like I tried the ratchet strap method, where you basically put a strap around the entire circumference of the tire. And that's totally. I just look like such an idiot.
That didn't work.
Did not work for me. No.
Okay.
The only thing that gets me out of a pinch on tires I don't seat is the inner tube trick, or just adding another layer of tape. That's kind of like always the solution, but it's like the most work to like peel it off, dry it up, and then add another layer. The inner tube trick works almost every time.
Yeah.
If you're wondering what that is, you probably know, right? But you put an inner tube in, which seats both sides of the bead, and then you break one side of the bead, pull the inner tube out, and then the pump has an easier time just seating the other bead.
Yeah.
That works pretty well almost every time.
Yeah.
60% of the time it works every time.
I had a tire recently on the Rivendell that I couldn't seat for the life of me at home, and I had to bring it into a shop.
Walk of shame.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a problem with like supple tires. Like initially they'll snap on. There comes a point when they get too stretched out, and depending on the fitment between the tire and the rim, like short of the air compressor, it's just not going on.
Yeah.
Sweet. So we've got 120 people in the chat. If you guys have any questions or share your favorite hack that either Nolan or I have done, or your favorite hack that you've done, or a hack that we should try, and don't let it be stupid. So
I see some tool comments. Water tank, the Vera Allen key.
Have you tried those?
Well, remember we talked about tools for a bit, and I was all excited when I got my Veras, but I'm not sure about them.
No,
I'm not sure. I might have a very controversial, upsetting opinion.
Hot take.
Yeah, like okay. So the problem for me is that the diameter of the shaft of those Allen keys is wider than the head, the tool head. So, in at least a couple of instances, I've needed to get an Allen key like through a tight space, but it wouldn't fit. It like the
derailleur hanger.
Yeah. And the example that I have is the Grotac equal brakes, like the pad adjusters are like deep inside of like the housing. So you've got to like slide the Allen key in, but they don't fit. So I have to go back to the park tools.
Yeah, truth be told, I have both the park and the Wera.
Yeah.
For instances like that, because sometimes they're like, for me it's the derailleur hanger bolt, and some derailleurs it's just really deeply inset.
Yeah. The Veras don't reach, right?
Right.
Yeah. So then now I've got a set of PB Swiss Allen wrenches in my cart. I haven't pulled the trigger on them, but
I've been curious about those. Like whenever when they did the Wera video, people are like, "Well, have you tried the PB Swiss?"
Yes.
Scrub.
Yeah. I've never heard anything bad about those, so I figure it might be worth giving those.
But what's supposed to be so good about them, though? Like, I feel like the Wera they tell a good technical story with like the Hex Plus. Like, what's so good about the PB Swiss ones? I need a narrative to latch onto.
All I get is that it's Swiss. Like they hide behind the Swiss ingenuity and the Swiss design.
Yeah, they're made at the Rolex factory. That's how precise they are.
Oh, wait, is that true?
I don't know. But yes, it could be.
Some of it comes down to play, right? I recall an article. Oh shit, I wish I could remember. Someone actually took like a common bolt head. Is my screen blinking? Sorry about that. Common bolt head, and then put many different Allen wrenches in and measured the angle of play.
Okay, yeah.
And so seems to me that PB Swiss might be like the most tight fitting.
That'd be a good video to make.
Yeah,
you can do a park where PB Swiss, and measure the angular. I don't know, was that delta change, whatever. Yeah, displacement.
The delta theta.
Yeah, the science words.
Yeah.
So Drew Felix, I own the PB Swiss, Park, and Bondus.
Bondus is another one, right? The American-made brand. They all work great, is his follow-up comment. Shit.
but works best. Yeah, I mean that like one of again the narrative of the wear is like it's got the hex plus and it'll lessen the amount of wear, or if it does get worn, it'll still take the tool out, like the Allen head out. Like the Park tools have that, where there's that one, you know what I mean? Like the T handle ones, like one side has like that black kind of twisting extractor.
Oh, right, yeah. The helical kind of shape to it, right?
Yeah. So,
well, I don't know. I'll have to give them a try and do a comparison.
Yeah.
those videos are tough because first of all, nobody cares. And second of all, the people who do watch always have strong opinions about what I did
they're like other
wrong.
engineers, armchair
Yeah,
engineers,
I know.
keyboard warriors.
Those are the videos I enjoy making, but the ones that receive the highest amount of criticism every time. So.
Right.
People just want to see, reviews and like, smooth, buttery B-roll and somebody talking over the background.
There you go. I feel your pain. Yeah, there's some videos I want to do, but I know it's just gonna, all the keyboard warriors will come out, and there's always that question of, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah,
and a lot of times, like, it's like I don't have the psychological stamina to deal with the comment section.
I know. Yeah. If you catch me at if you catch me in a bad mood and I'm reviewing comments, it's never pretty. I should just not respond, but sometimes I feel like I have to defend my honor a little bit.
Yeah.
Something.
Have you seen this completely unbike related, but kind of related to this? But the whole spate of like very large YouTubers like quitting YouTube.
No.
There's been a couple. There's like Tom Scott. I don't know if you follow him. He does kind of, I don't know, just like nerdy sciencey stuff in general.
Mm-hmm.
This other guy that I follow, like Matty Hapaya.
Oh yeah.
These are like multi-million, sub channels, and within like the last week, they've been like, "I'm done."
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I opened up YouTube yesterday, and Peter McKinnon had a video that said, "I'm back." So maybe it's just like a strategy.
That's the meta. There you
go. I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them are like from the videos I've watched. Like the stress of it has added up. A lot of these channels are really large, and they employ people, and just having to make sure not only they're getting paid, but taking care of their employees is too much stress.
Right.
Which I totally get. And it's like a grind. You have to like hustle, or get really lucky, or just be naturally good. Yeah. But I think for the most part, it's a lot of hustle.
Yeah.
So. I've been contemplating making that video.
Oh, yeah?
I can't quite retire yet. I was gonna do my idea was gonna be my last day on YouTube, and it would be a specific date, but like 5 years from now, and like that'll be how much time I'll give myself to make this work. I feel like I have 5 more years of suffering before I have to pull the plug.
Oh crap. Okay.
But,
well, I feel like you said that maybe it's not maybe the first time you've said that, no?
No, like honestly, like it's something I think about a lot. It's a cool job and it allows for interesting opportunities, but there's you try to put out a lot of good or like some information, but it seems as if like there's a disproportionate amount of bad that comes back. Like whenever I made the mistake of doing a search for pathless pedal on Reddit the other day, I was just like, oh, that was a mistake. So I have so many haters on Reddit. It's bananas.
Really?
Yeah, like whole threads. And that's what's like. I'm just trying to make entertaining stuff. Like, I want people to learn things and maybe smile, and like just people get sideways about it. So
that's really hard to believe. That's upsetting.
Yeah, it was. There was a was watching a Cade Media video the other day, and someone had mentioned like our channel because we did a similar hack or something. And then the next comment after is like, "Oh, you mean Fred TV?"
Jeez.
I know, like the fuck.
That's well, you call it a silver lining, but I think that's what happens when you get bigger, right?
I guess
The bigger the channel gets, like, it's just law of numbers. Like, the more people are going to have a problem with it. Like,
yeah,
the
but I
larger
feel
audience you reach, like those people who don't quite get your core concept are not going to agree.
yeah, I feel like I think about that, but then I also think it'd be different if, like, you know, this was like a multi-million subscriber channel and there was just a lot of money being made, and that would insulate me from the negative comments to a degree. But it's, you know, it's an okay sized channel. It's certainly not the biggest channel, and I don't have enough money to insulate me from all the comments.
Well, but why? Like, what? What would money do to insulate you from comments?
I just wouldn't feel as bad. I was like, you can talk shit all you want, but I'm like, I'm going to the bank.
Oh, I see.
Well, I could hire someone to deal with the comments. There, bam,
okay.
concrete.
Well, maybe that's what you should do. Hire a media relations
There you go.
intern for your channel.
That would be probably the first or second hire. The first hire would be someone to edit the videos, and the second would be someone just be a buffer between all the comments and stuff.
Yeah.
So
you could hire a layer.
AI.
Yeah.
That's how I'd make my millions, is make an AI bot that would just answer YouTubers' comments in their style.
Yeah, right. That's got to exist, right? Yeah. Suddenly, every video has every comment replied to.
Right. You know, just have it like, you know, watch your videos, figure out your language and your angle on things, and there you go. Set it free. Answer all the comments.
Well, it's interesting to hear that that's where your headspace is, that you're maybe thinking about. You're not thinking about an exit strategy, right?
No, I am.
Really?
Well, it's not going to be anytime soon, but like I have come to the realization that I cannot do this forever.
Yeah.
You know, like I've probably got 3 to 5 years, and then like something else has to happen, because it's just, I mean, I've been technically on YouTube since, I don't know, 2011 or earlier, but not posting consistently, I'd say, till 2017. So it's called 2017. So that's what, 6 years?
6 years, yeah.
See, I can do some math. And like the first couple years when I was like, okay, I'm going to be a YouTuber, I was cranking out like 4 or 5 videos a week.
I know.
And I just cannot do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, don't do that anymore. You can scale back, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's been my experiment the last couple months since we moved to Spain. Like it's gone down to like at least 2 videos a week to 1, and then 1 for the Patreon. And the YouTube AdSense does not like that.
Oh, really?
Unless I like come out with like a banger of a video, it's like, you know, the line goes down, and I'm like, shit, I gotta make some internet.
I think of it like the speedometer on your car. As soon as you take your foot off the gas pedal, you just like plummets.
Right. Yeah. I'm just not very good at making like viral content. Like it's very, I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah. I don't know. But okay. But on the other side, there's very few channels that have like reached your level of success, right? Like you compare yourself to channels with millions of subscribers, but you have nearly 200,000 subscribers, which is like, you know, I'm a new YouTuber, so I still like look at the stats a lot and, you know, try and place myself within the broader spectrum. But like that's like top 99 percentile, right? Like less than 1% of channels reach 100,000 subscribers.
Let's get spin on things.
What I'm saying is you really have something. So, you know, I don't know.
How long have you been making how long would you consider yourself as a YouTuber?
Well, I have a hard start date because I remember it was because of COVID that I started, right? So COVID, I needed an outlet. So August 2020, I can remember, was my first upload, which was so awful. Like, do you keep your first video up?
Yeah, don't watch it. Whatever you do, I don't even think it's bike related. But I feel like you came out of the gate swinging. Like I remember seeing your channel pop up and like for how few videos you've done, like your production value was really, really good.
Yeah,
You know,
that's maybe the first time I've heard that, but yeah, I appreciate that. I've contemplated taking the first couple down just because they're so brutal to watch. But I've kept them up as kind of a reminder of, oh, look, I've kind of made some progress. So
yeah,
I don't know. Don't watch them, seriously. They're terrible.
I keep them up just like mostly just to remind me of where my head was at at that time. You know?
Yeah. Anyways, what were we talking about?
Bike hacks. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up here soon. So if you're in the chat, there's still 118, 120 or so. And you have any questions about hacks, let us know, or your other reaction.
Sounds like a lot of people prefer the jibber jabber about YouTube and less about
they're like, forget bike hacks, whatever.
Forget bike hacks. Let's hear you complain about work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that it's all kind of tied into why we moved to Girona. Just because we went here, last year, and people are a lot more chill. Like, it's so cliche at this point of, people here like, don't live to work, and it just got under my skin. I was like, oh, there's an alternative to the grind and the hustle. Maybe being a solo creator is enough. I don't have to become like the Radavist or bikepacking.com and hire other editors and pay them money and all this other. Maybe this is just like enough. So that's what we're gonna try to find enough.
Yeah, that's words of inspiration.
Yeah. I mean, it helps to sell stuff because AdSense isn't all that great. I mean, how are your mounts and your deletes moving?
FSDs are still moving. Yeah, pretty consistent. I would say percentage wise, they make up about half of the total. Like AdSense is maybe half. Online sales is maybe like 45%, and then all the other affiliate stuff is a few percent here and there.
Do you feel like you have more control of the fate of the products than the other things?
Of course. Yeah, like AdSense, you have no control. Like December, January, AdSense just tanks, even though you continue to put out like solid videos. Like the drivetrain hack that I just put out is probably one of the best of the last 20 videos I put out, but I put it out at the wrong time.
Right, like zero ads. Like literally, yeah. That's what got. I have to remind myself every January, basically after Christmas, AdSense like jumps off a cliff, and you see the number go down. And you're like, man, do I suck? Yeah. It's like no one's buying ads, so there goes your monies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the online sales. So it's like I don't know how you. There's got to be a word for it, right? They go hand in hand, right? Like I couldn't just do online sales without the YouTube platform because nobody would know who I am or what it is. So
it's a funnel to the sales.
Yeah. But the stuff that we're putting on our website is like we only have like 3 or 4 products, and there's stuff that's specifically, that I found a need that I personally use that I made videos about. So people. Usually, if people land on our website, they're there to buy something that they saw.
Yeah.
So it's much more controllable.
Do you sell more of the mounts, the camera mounts, or the FSUs?
A lot more of the mounts. Surprisingly, they're still going, even though Insta came out with their own version of the same thing. I don't have I don't do data or analytics on our sales. It's like on a weekly, like we try and do shipments twice a week, and there's usually a bag full of maybe 10 to 20, I would say, a week.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, if I had to put a number to it. So much so that I designed an alloy version of it that's a little stronger, so that'll be like a basic and like a premium version. Still trying to keep
smart.
it keep it less than the fancy Insta one. And
how
then
much is it?
Hmm?
How much is the Insta360 one?
The mount is $10. It's just a 3D printed ABS part, so it's cheap. What's crazy is like there may be 30% are international sales.
Oh, wow.
Which means they're paying like $18, $20 for shipping on a $10 part. Every time I ship international, I'm like, I don't understand, but sure, I'll send it.
Yeah, I feel that pain now.
Yeah.
Well, if we ordered something from the States, we'd have to pay that. So, which is about 20% of the item plus the shipping. So if I buy $100 widget, I'm paying, let's say, $25, $30 in shipping plus $20 on top of that because the government takes theirs.
Right.
So that $100 widget's like a $150 widget.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. And then FSDs are pretty steady, as well as the spacers. But so many people have been asking for a version of the Future Shock Delete so that they can slam their stem. Which I felt like for the longest time I kind of opposed it, but I designed one, so we have prototypes of that coming. So we'll see how that one does. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Those are the premium roadie ones,
right? Yeah, people who want to buy a Roubaix for the comfort, but then slam the stem,
right,
to go faster.
Yeah. Well, cool. We're at hour and 7 minutes. I think I'm going to take us home here. Thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully we'll do this in another 2 weeks. When is that? Is that February already, or is that still January?
That puts us into February, I believe. Yep.
Okay, so by then we should be in our new place, and we'll hopefully have internet by then.
If you have to push it, that's fine. We'll do it casual.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out, and as always, keep the supple side down.